Good morning, everyone. All right. I want to thank Jessica and everyone here for this opportunity. My name is James Alabamaji, and this is my partner, Tyreek Cooper. Yeah, so today I'll be presenting the Grind Gaming Lounge, Frisco's introduction into esports and what we would like to do for the community, which is have them experience esports through comfort. All right, so let me just give you an example real quick. So a little comparison. So last year's Super Bowl on CBS drew over 111.9 million viewers, making it the third most watched broadcast in U.S. TV history. This thing sometimes, all right. But for esports, which I'm about to explain, which is competitive gaming, last year's League of Legends World Championship, which is the biggest esports game in our decade, drew 106.2 million viewers for just the first match and had over 4.29 billion hours viewed during the entire tournament. So what I try to make with this point is that previously before, when it came to competitive gaming, it wasn't really a big thing. 2016, 2015, you weren't seeing a lot of pro teams, things like that, in the mainstream spotlight. But now, as you can see, there are companies and big teams, NVIDIA and gaming, that are putting big monies and spending their times in stadiums, which is, I think this was in Seoul, South Korea of last year. So, and to make this whole point, not everyone in those two stadiums got to go to that event. You know, for the NFL, my family doesn't get to go every year to wherever it's at to go watch the game. So sometimes my dad goes out and goes to a sports bar, and it's the same thing for esports lounges. And in this case, it would be esports lounges and cafes. But there has been a problem with cafes and lounges in America that I'm going to get into. So this is the current state of gaming lounges and PC cafes. Out-of-home entertainment has been on the decline, especially in the gaming industry. In the past decade, consumers have been able to buy their consoles, their PCs with gaming-capable computers, and being able to go on their virtual adventures online. But these points right here are what lounges still do in North America that has become that has stagnated the industry in the past decade. So they provide high-quality PCs. Most provide small LAN tournaments with some monetary game, some prudent food options for their customer base, and they also do it at reasonable prices. But they're running the same formula as arcades. So I wasn't there. I'm a late 90s kid, so I really didn't get to experience the arcade generation. But this same formula has led to stagnation in the industry in the West, while the rest of the world is already ahead of us in this. But here at The Grind, we strive to be different with the way we make money, the way we interact with our customers, and the way they enjoy their gaming experience, and the way we support our gaming community here in Frisco. The Grind is a lounge for its members, and that's what's different, and that's what we try to strive for, because if you've seen previously, you wouldn't be able, you see lounges not communicating, just being a place to hang out with friends, but that really hasn't changed at all. So, and the important thing is that the market size is now available here in Frisco and here in North America. So these numbers here are the numbers for potential customers and after our surveys that we have run and things like that. So sorry, I'm kind of behind, so I had to go through this. And then our market validation right here. So here's some more numbers that are based on our research that we've been doing over the past 2 years. And then a little bit into our business model. But what we focus on is our hourly rates, our cafe, our membership, and our content creator network. And then this is what our estimated revenue streams would be. And then these are the lounges in the area: Shadowland, Source Gaming, and Java Gaming Cafe, which are lounges far apart in the industry. But yeah, this is what we would like to be ahead of in the community. So, but here's the important part, since I'm rushing. But why we're here: we need investors, feedback, and resources, which is the most important thing, because businesses like this are expensive. But yeah, so, and here's our contact information right here. So thank you.
First of all, this is a great idea. And one of the things that I'd suggest is trying to find local talent and create your own teams. And have you thought of that? In fact, Dota 2, are you familiar with Dota 2? Okay. I understand Dota 2 is big in the rest of the world, but it's not so big in the U.S. And it's been extremely difficult to find a Dota 2 team for my son to get on.
I'm actually glad you brought that up. I actually coach for the high school in Denton. I coach the League of Legends team for free. I just do it for fun because I'm not a pro player, but I'm like kind of up there. I don't want to toot my own horn or anything. But yeah, so I kind of do this a lot. I play a lot of games and go to the community. I'm like kind of like a really big gamer. I play a lot of different games, and like not in one area. I've actually we have our own little community on this app called Discord. It's where gamers, it's an online app. Gamers just come in and we just talk and like we have a whole little base community. We've actually made a few teams. We have what is it? Cryptic Void Gaming. They're a huge Call of Duty team. They had a tournament with MLG Dallas. That was our first team that we had. I'm working on making a Gears of War team, which is for Xbox. We have like 5 people in that already. I was actually on a team myself for Gears of War. Won a few tournaments. Yeah, so that's kind of what I've been doing, searching for like little talents in the high schools. Also, the high schools are going to make gaming teams, so we kind of want to implement. If students have their IDs, they get discounted at the gaming lounge. So it's like it brings in more students and student base, connects the community together. So, but that answers your question. Yeah.
Okay, so I have 2 questions. One, I'm going to ask, and then I'll let you respond really quickly because I think it's important to the point you're trying to make. I'm going to make a judgment call after just casually looking around the room and also just like based on my own self. Give a 2-sentence reminder to the audience about what esports is, just as a foundation for those who may not know.
So esports is competitive gaming. So this is your not anymore your child in their basement, not wasting their lives away playing video games, but they're now able to do that as a full-time career. There's companies and people, investors and things like that, who will pay for these players, these high-skilled players, to go travel around the world or sometimes in their local states, play games for them, just like an NFL. Or NBA, things like that. So team-based things, or solos, yes.
Yeah. Okay. So I lied. I do know what esports is. But that's important, right? Because it's important. There's a lot of money in the industry.
Yes.
So it's relevant to what's going on from an industry and business perspective right now.
Yes.
So obviously, one of your limitations is you need a physical space.
Yes.
Where are you looking for physical space? Because if you're looking for real estate in Frisco, that's a pretty big investment ask right there. So where have you been looking, and what is the price point for that, just from an investment perspective?
So we've been looking in the area of Frisco for the past year and a half now. So we've been talking. We've been kind to have support from our volunteer list broker, Luke Mullen. So there's some locations that he's been sending us. So there's a location on Main Street that is FM 423, I don't have the exact location memorized, but it's near the Little Elm Kroger, and in that little pocket that's right in between where Frisco and Little Elm connect. But yeah, the investment would be quite big, which is around, like, I was talking to him, I think just the other day, it was around like $30 triple nets for that space, which is kind of expensive. But, you know, we're always open to moving around in location-wise, and like we're actually looking into warehouses now because we were recommended that by a friend of ours that is helping us out with you know, location-wise and things like that. So yeah, we've definitely looked into that, but we're always able to move around with locations and things like that. So yeah.
So I have some comments about your pitch. I come from many years in the restaurant business, and you know, since you're, you know, ultimately creating a cafe or an environment, you know, something that might be really helpful is to add some images to really show what it will be, especially for people that don't know what a video game lounge is, and you know what people will be doing there. You know, you can do renderings, or you can just steal or find you know, license-free images on the internet to do, you know, pictures of how the cafe relates to the space where people are playing and stuff. And I think more of a understanding of how these things all fit together, like tell the story of what your guest will do. They'll come in, they'll do what, they'll pay for what, they'll eat what, they'll do what. And you know, my last point is just a note of caution or something to really think about. Food service is tough.
Yeah.
It's really expensive, it's very labor intensive, and it's very different than computers. You know, a computer, you can run an app for $200 a month. There's no, you know, by the time rent, labor, and all that kind of stuff. And you might want to think about partnering with another entity that could do the food portion for you and concentrate on what you're good at. You know, maybe they take a percentage, or you take a percentage of their revenue or something like that, rather than trying to embark on that.
That gets into a great point, because that's also, because we've also gotten help and feedback from that also. So we're actually in talks with Nerdvana. So I don't know if you know that, it's a local cafe. So we've been in talks with doing that, because I've learned that the food industry is quite a tough industry to be in. But yeah, thank you.
And just another idea on that point is maybe prepackaged food. You know, you go to Starbucks, it's already packaged, and there's no issues. So, so first of all, congratulations. I love presentations where at the end you ask for what you need. So congratulations on that. Second, in terms of the 2 or 3 other lounges, what is your competitive advantage? Why would I want to visit you versus those other 2?
So, so with those lounges, we've done our research on them, and I've personally been in talks. With those lounges you see there, the equipment is kind of, the way they update their equipment takes a while, and then what their services provide. So an example, Source Gaming is in Denton, Texas, and they usually get packed nights Fridays, so because they're near a college, UNT, and they get that revenue. But other than that, the food and how they interact with their community is basically non-existent, because there's places to go in Denton, but for that small niche, that's all they hit, and they're being served things like ramen noodles and things like that.
Okay, and so one other question, and this might be just pure ignorance on my part. So the esports industry, would it behoove you to have a celebrity that loves gaming but is a famous celebrity, like an athlete or anything like that, because to bring that awareness and drive traffic?
Actually, I've been talking to a lot of the pro players, like, because I have connections. I'm like a high-ranked player in most of these games. I've been talking to a few of the pro players. They've like decided, like, at this PewDiePie, like big YouTubers and stuff like that, things like that. They've emailed me back and talked to me through Twitter and emails. They'll actually come visit the cafe and host like events or like tournaments in their name. So it'll probably bring more people like to the cafe.
And so we are with contacts with teams like Optic Gaming, which is a multi-million-dollar gaming team that's owned, that's owned here in Texas. Yeah, they actually moved here in January. We just talked to them. Their house is nice. Yeah. Mhm.
because if it's community-based,
Mhm.
right? Can you get anybody from the Cowboys? I mean, physically, other team, would you want to?
Oh yeah, we would be obviously down to go talk and get teams in there, but really, yeah, more of the gamers. But then the whole aspect of what we're trying to show we're starting with the Frisco niche community, and we want to then bring it broadly into Frisco in general, because they need to know they have a place, because they can see in South Korea and China, there's levels to these lounges, but here in North America, that we don't have that. We barely have any lounges throughout the country. I can name about 20, but yeah, I really think we need to bring that level of quality of lounges and PC cafes and give people here who enjoy gaming and want a place, a community for themselves here, and others to introduce into what they love and things like that. Yeah.
So I'm not really much into esports, but I sort of like the idea of what you're doing anyway. Is there something that you would offer someone like myself a reason to come to your place?
Oh,
Will you have other functions besides this esports
Oh,
factor?
definitely. And I wasn't really able to get into it too much, but our content creators, because again, there's different aspects to esports. Before, previously, if you even knew what competitive gaming was, you'd just think, oh, all they do is game. They just game for a long time. But then there's other aspects to it. So we have shoutcasting, which is just our sports broadcasters. We have IT that's interested, that we've been talking to. There's many aspects that esports now bring, and the jobs that it creates in this area that it didn't previously before. So like in your case, app developers and things like that. We want to give people an opportunity for everything that esports has to offer, and that goes into the IT, the media, the marketing parts of it all, and we want to give workshops like that for those reasons too. So there would definitely be a reason for people who are not generally just want to game all the time to go there and also do other stuff. So yeah.
Nuts and bolts question on financing. Obviously, it depends on location and size and all that, but there are a lot of hard costs that would go into having a lounge. You're going to be selling memberships, I guess. Is that what you said?
Yes.
And so, have you done a budget analysis to figure out what your break-even point would be to, based on how many members do you have to have? How do you survive only on, having, I mean, obviously you say the weekends are big in Denton, but nothing else during the week. How do you bring people in? What's your goal?
Well, our goal for at least memberships, and that is to have a steady stream of over of 50, because again, that's our confirmed. That's something you can always rely on and back on. But throughout the week and things like that, we always plan for it. It's kind of a mix between a gaming cafe and a lounge, because they kind of coexist together. So if you don't always have to game, it's supposed to be a social hub, another social hub that would allow. And so our membership packages that we are creating would allow that to function. So if you want a game, you can game. If not, you can enjoy our other services, our Wi-Fi grind unlock packages. That's what we're calling them. So things like that. So we have that planned, and we are currently still working on getting that refined. But yes, we're definitely looking into that.
So you may have mentioned this and I didn't catch it, but have you guys started building a community with memberships where people are paying to be a part of that community currently? And if so, what does that look like? If not, have you considered really going for that membership and then just hosting events at different locations before you actually have a physical location, so you can show investors, hey, like we have traction, we just need this money to up level?
That's actually what we were talking about before. I think, I'm not sure who asked the question, but we have a Discord community. It's an online app. I actually make tournaments, like online tournaments, and people can just join in and sign up. You get your team or whatever. And I kind of want to try to get it to where like you pay to enroll in the tournament, and then whoever wins, they get an output of the money. So we kind of can make money that way, having teams like, say, $5 per person, and then there's like 20 different teams, 20 times 5, and then, yeah.
And then we have over 107 members in our Discord now, and they really enjoy playing with us personally, and the tournaments that we do, because we have a lot of games listed in our Discord, and we've definitely been trying to do that. We also have a Patreon that we recently just opened up, Grind Gaming, and it basically lets you get access to certain streams, certain content, and then we merchandise. So I actually have a shirt right here that my partner Gage is holding in the back. Yeah, so merch like that.
That group that you mentioned, are they all in Frisco?
Cryptic Void. Cryptic Void is a nationwide team. They actually come. We actually flew them down here for MLG Dallas and sponsored their tournament here. Yeah, but we have one of the members of the team does live in Frisco.
That had to be the last question. We're going to have time after this to network, so let's grab these guys. I think you've created some excitement. And as the young lady said, you showed what you needed. Talk to the points that you want to go by now. Is space the main thing you want?
Space.
Right now?
Yes, space and finance, yes.
Space and finance. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much.